Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the Bookit Sports community, and as always, around the world. We got another great episode of The Morning After for you today. We got Josh in the stew. We're going to talk about the biggest busts of March Madness. We're going to talk about the biggest surprises of March Madness. We're going to talk about the Sweet 16. We're going to talk about some prize pick squares I like on the board today. And we're also going to talk about possibly who we think the national champion is going to be.
Okay.
Even though I already have my bracket filled out.
Yeah.
But I think it might not be who I think it is. Listen, I don't know if it's a hot take. This March Madness has sucked cock.
Yeah.
It's just been like a mid, like let's just say it for what it is. It's been a mid March Madness.
It has been so far.
A mid March Madness.
One thing I am happy about though is
go
that
ahead.
there's good teams still left.
Yeah.
Like last year, we were at this point. It was like, dude, the Final Four could be. It ended up being just the most random teams.
I'll give you that. I also would love to read you a tweet really quick that I saw this morning. Actually, I didn't see it. I searched it out because I just wanted to know. So I'm just going to go by the conferences here and tell you the teams that made the Sweet 16 and how many bids they got.
Okay.
You want to play that game with me? Should we
Sure.
play that game? Let's go to the A10. 2 bids, 0 made it to the Sweet 16. Not really shocked by that one.
Yeah.
Not really shocked by that one, right? The Mountain West, 6 bids. Only 1 made it to the Sweet 16. So we gave a conference 6 bids and only 1 made it to the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, talked about it all week. How free was Utah State? And I got bullied out of not posting it.
So free.
Bullied out of not posting it. Pac-12 got 4 bids. Only 1 made it to the Sweet 16. That's not bad, right? You get 4, 1 for 4. That's not bad. Yeah, that's not bad at all. We'll take that any day of the week. WCC, 1 for 2. We knew that was coming. It was either going to be St. Mary's or Gonzaga.
Yeah,
it was always one of them, right? The SEC got 8 bids. We gave the SEC 8 bids.
Yeah.
Do you know how many made it to Sweet 16, Josh?
I'll guess 1.
2.
Oh, 2.
2, but close.
Tennessee,
2.
Oh, and Bama got there. Yeah.
2, yeah, close. 2. A lot of them lost in the first round. We gave the Big Ten 6 bids. You know how many made it? Do you know how many made it out of 6?
I don't think any are still in, are they?
2.
2?
Purdue?
Oh, dude, I'm literally looking at it, and I can't. Oh, in Illinois.
Josh might not know ball.
In Illinois.
We gave the ACC 5 bids, which I was shocked by. I thought they were mid-conference. You know how many ACC teams made it?
Clemson,
Yep.
NC State.
Yep. Duke. North Carolina. 4 of the 5.
God damn.
4 of the 5, right?
Okay.
That's pretty good. We gave the Big 12 8 fucking bids. We gave the Big 12 8 fucking bids. 8 of them. 8. We gave them, Josh, we gave them 8 bids. Tied for the most. We gave them 8 bids. Guess how many made the Sweet 16?
1.
2.
Damn.
2 out of the 8
That
made
one
the
I tried to
Sweet
not look.
16. Guess how many bids the Big East got, Josh? Guess how many bids the Big East got?
Did they get 4?
We got 3.
3?
Guess how many are in the Sweet 16?
3.
3. The most out of any conference. The most out of any conference with the least amount of bids.
That
The
is
most
impressive.
with the least amount of bids are in the Sweet 16. And we're talking about the Big East as if we shouldn't have had more bids. 3 for 3,
It's a fair point.
2 for 8, 2 for 6, 2 for 8, 1 for 4. We're really still talking about it? What are we talking about? What are we actually talking about? You get 8 fucking bids, 2 make it to the Sweet 16, and one of them is the 1 seed. Give me an absolute break. Give me a break.
Joke.
It's a
It just
fucking
kind of
joke.
sucks. Well, it's actually great.
And by the
for
way,
you
Seton
now
Hall is
because-
probably going to win the NIT. And I swear to God, if they win the NIT, I hope Shane Holloway in his interview is like, this is why you should have put us in the dance.
It's good for you, honestly. That Providence didn't get in now, and they're 3 for 3. Now you're just a natty champion.
If we made
Before it
it,
even
we
happened.
would have won it.
Yeah.
If we made it, we would have won it. And by the way, it's not like the Big 12 went out with like guns blazing. Texas Tech got dog walked. TCU got dog walked. I can't think of the other Big 12 schools because fucking Texas actually put up a fight against Tennessee. That was surprising. They made it that far.
was.
Which, by the way, I was probably the lowest on Texas, and they almost made it the farthest. Baylor, dog walked.
By Clemson, yeah.
Dog walked by one of the worst teams in the ACC, I would say. Dog walked.
Dude, Clemson?
All of them.
Sneaky.
All of them.
Yeah.
8 bids, 2. 2 for 8.
That's tough.
That's what I would shoot for free throws right now, and I haven't played basketball in 9 years. But all right, enough of that. Just had to get that off my chest. 3 for 3, but we're talking about it? 3 for 3,
Man.
if we want to talk about it, by the way. 3 for 3. I did want to talk about the first round, Josh. I feel like there was a couple surprises.
Mhm.
First of all, we said Michigan State all week. I don't know what I was doing, though,
You said
following
Michigan
it
State
up.
League.
I
Yeah.
don't know what I was doing following it up with them against UNC because UNC might be the real deal.
Dude, that spread in the UNC game was just screaming. Michigan State.
Screaming, dude. 3.5?
Yeah, that made no sense.
3.5?
That made no sense.
3.5. Come on, man. 3.5. It was always Duquesne. Oh, BYU dog walked by an 11 seed.
Yeah. We saw that coming.
Saw that coming
We
from
saw
a
that
mile
coming.
fucking away.
Yeah.
I think that was the first game Josh and I talked about on the show.
It might have been.
Said, you know who's winning? Duquesne. What were they? Plus 11, plus 7.5?
Yeah, they're plus 375 or something on the money, 360 on the money line.
Hand up, though. You know what we shouldn't have done? Shouldn't have taken them in the second round.
Yeah,
They got fucking spanked.
Yeah.
That was bad. That was really bad.
Illinois
And I'll
could be
tell-
the real deal too.
Dude, and I'll tell you what, Josh. Illinois has been a shock to me.
They have played like two mid-tier
yeah.
schools, so like
I agree.
I agree. They do look really
Pump
good.
it.
They
I'll
look
pump it.
perfect.
I'll pump it, but I'm just saying I'm shocked.
They've played perfect in two.
They've
games,
played
pretty
perfect
much,
ball. Terrence Shannon is unbelievable.
Yeah, he's so good.
It was never the Arizona Long Beach State over. I want you to hand up that
That
one.
was so bad.
And I feel like Josh, the writing was on the wall. The Cox were dead, dude. The Cox were dead. I don't know what we were doing taking the Cox again against Oregon. Like it was just never them.
Dude, Oregon.
Like they were starting to die out, and now they're dead.
Yeah, they're dead.
Now they're dead. They're dead. Dead. Nevada. Can we talk about that Nevada game? I want to
Sure.
talk about the biggest disappointments of March Madness, other than the tournament as a whole being a little bit boring. The University of Nevada might have been the biggest disappointment in the entire history of March Madness. You blew a
That was bad.
17-point lead in 7 minutes. Scored 4 points in 7 minutes. That might be the most despicable and the most embarrassing blown lead and loss in all of March Madness history. I can't think of one that's worse than that.
Yeah, dude.
You
That
have
was
a 17-point lead with 7 minutes left, and you score 4 points in 7 minutes.
Dude, I missed the end of that game too. I was downstairs in the casino. I look at the screen, they were up 16 with whatever was like 6.5 minutes left. I'm like, okay, that game's done. Just stopped watching. Went back upstairs, and you were just in shambles. And I was like, what happened? You're
Dude,
like,
Josh had back next to me. And
Nevada.
he's like, what's going on? And I was just like, just no soul left in my eyes. Because, dude, Nevada, I'm not even gonna lie, was one of the most confident bets I had.
Yeah, I mean, dude, they look good for what 35 minutes of the game.
And I'll tell you what I did after that. Well, let's keep going. The most disappointing teams in March Madness. Other than Virginia, shouldn't have fucking made it. We already talked about that. That was an embarrassment for the committee to even put that team in there. The University of Kentucky. I don't even know if I'll go as far to say embarrassing, but Coach Calipari should lose his job.
You think?
He's had, I think, 1 tournament win in 5 years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And I think it was last year
Did they
against
win?
the boys.
Yeah, I mean, you would know.
Against the boys.
Yeah.
I think that was his 1 win. If you could fact check me on that. Coach Calipari.
Coach K's.
Yeah, Coach K.
Dude.
Coach Calipari. For the amount of 5-star recruits, for the amount of number 1 recruiting classes, for the amount of talent that has walked through that door, should lose his job at the University of Kentucky for the lack of success he's had. I think he's gotten bounced from the SEC tournament in the first game the past 4 years. I think he's got 1 tournament win in the past 5 years. What is he doing over there? And I get it. You roll out a bunch of young kids. That's his thesis, right? I mean, when you look back, you're going to be like, in 10 years' time, people will look back and go, no way, Coach Calipari had Devin Booker, Carl Towns, all Shea Gill, all these guys. Like, what a great coach. He doesn't win, though.
No.
He doesn't win.
I don't know why I can't find last 5 years, but he's got 32 career wins.
But
That's all I'm saying,
you
really.
got to think about, he went to the national championship with Memphis. He went to the national championship with Kentucky.
He has where'd it go? 32 wins in the tournament, 4 Final Four wins, 7 Elite 8 wins, and 8 Sweet 16s.
But the past 5 years, I think, have been
I'm sure
dormant.
they haven't been great. I
Yeah,
mean,
not great.
Just in general,
He should lose his job. I don't know. I'm being totally honest. He should, especially the way they looked against Oakland.
Yeah,
It looked like they had no game plan. And by the way, I got a DM before that game tipped off that from an Oakland fan. And he said, listen, I don't want you to take this as bias, but I just watched both teams shoot around. The Kentucky kids came out for 15 minutes, fooled around, joked around, shot from a half court, took a couple threes, and then left. With plenty of time left. I think they had 2 hours left of their open practice that you could go watch. And they all left. He said Oakland came in, dialed in, running shit, taking shots, doing progressions. Everyone looked locked in, ready to play a game.
Yeah.
And they came out and beat Kentucky. Kentucky, is the most disappointing March Madness team in the past 5 years. Over the past 5 years, I don't think you can find a team that has consistently been more disappointing than Kentucky with the rosters they've had.
Yeah, probably not. Them and Gonzaga, maybe.
Dude, we're going to look
but
back.
Gonzaga goes deep and they lose.
We're going to look back. First of all, number one recruiting class this year, Rob Dillingham, Brad Shaw, Reed Shepard.
Yeah.
They kept Antonio Reeves. We're looking at a team that should be in the Sweet 16 right now.
They should be in the championship.
But the way he coaches, the way he coaches, the way they play, what a disappointment.
Yeah.
They're probably number one, if not two, to Nevada.
So if he gets fired, who do you think they should hire? Because I just think that the problem would be, like someone just said this too, elite recruiter, zero coaching ability. They would have to be they probably have to be the best in-game coach of all time to make up for Calipari's, what you're losing in his recruitment, right? Because no one's going to recruit like him. I don't think anyone
You don't
ever
even have
has.
to be a good recruiter anymore with the transfer portal. You don't need a 3-5-star freshman coming in that play.
You don't need them.
You can hit the portal as hard as you want. That's why there's teams in the Sweet 16 that have worse recruiting profiles in Kentucky.
Jay Wright. Could you imagine he comes out?
That'd be a step down, though, from Villanova to Kentucky with the success he had at Villanova. He made Villanova a A1 basketball program.
But dude, if he won at Kentucky,
but he took Villanova from the mud,
and
built them. Calipari walked into Kentucky from the Rupp days that had success. I don't know. Disappointing. Kentucky, disappointed. McNeese, why don't you go ahead? Walk your way up to the disappointment. What are we doing thinking they were any good at all?
I was going to say that.
We looked at their schedule, Josh. We talked about it. What are we doing thinking they're good at all?
I don't know.
They got
that was silly.
Their face blown off in GTA by Gonzaga in the worst way possible. And every time I check my TikTok feed, and I even made a TikTok about it, I was one of them. I'll be honest. I bit the bait. on McNeese. This is the one March Madness sleeper you're going to want to watch out for. The McNeese offense. I mean, they got smoked by a team that might be the real deal, though. So, we'll shelf
They
it.
looked so bad, though.
Everyone from the Big 12, what a disappointment. Literally everyone. Yeah. Kansas, all of them. Disappointment. I think if Kansas was healthy, different conversation. All of them, what a disappointment. There's a couple more teams I want to talk about, Josh. The Florida Atlantic University should be banned from playing in March Madness for as long as they have Division I basketball for what they did in the first round.
Dude.
To lose to Northwestern in the fashion that they lost, and if you're a box score watcher and you go to the box score and you go, oh, they went to overtime and they ended up getting blown out, that is not the tale of the game. FAU blew lead after lead. By the way, the refs let them back in the second half. They probably shouldn't even have tied the game up. But FAU had a lead, refused to play defense. Then with 9 seconds left, and by the way, I made a video asking the FBI to investigate this play. With 9 seconds left, Janelle Davis walks the ball up into a double team logo 3. Josh, I don't know if you watched the Texas A&M game last night, but Texas A&M played Houston yesterday, and Tyrese Radford had about 500 points. Yeah. And you know how he did it? He got the ball at half court, full head of steam, drove to the bucket, got fouled.
Yeah.
Drove to the bucket, put a shot up, made a layup, got contact, got an and one. There are things you do with 9 seconds left. Also, keep in mind, FAU had a timeout. First of all, you call the timeout and you get a half court set going if you want. If you're a coach that knows, by the way, Dusty May, who just got a new job. Michigan, so no wonder he wanted to leave early. No wonder Dusty May wanted to lose that game, didn't call the timeout, didn't run a play, wanted to leave early. Now he's got a brand new cushy job in the Big Ten, coaching a team that he probably never thought he'd be coaching. So no wonder. You know what it reeks of? It reeks of Kevin Willard when he made the tournament with Seton Hall on his way out and then got a job at Maryland the next week. So no wonder you don't call that timeout. No wonder you don't run a half-court set. No wonder you don't do any of that. You let Janelle Davis walk the ball up and shoot the ball from the logo with 2 guys on him.
I didn't hate the no timeout. I just hated that Davis didn't, in that situation, just go to the rim, try to get fouled. You miss, whatever.
And you know it's bad when the announcers are going, what is he doing?
Yeah, well, it almost looked like he didn't know how much time was left.
Which is beyond me.
But he did. He did, though, because he pulled up right,
and also there's a big clock in front of you that ticks down as you dribble the ball. I just don't it makes sense now, right? You get the new job at Michigan. All your kids are going to leave. Fuck, I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to call that. But once you see him walking, you call the timeout. That's my point with that. He didn't get the full head of steam. By the time he crosses half court, he's got to start getting downhill.
I think the only problem with that is then there'd be 3 seconds left if you call a timeout. Then you have to pretty much shoot off the inbound. Right.
But that's what Texas A&M did. Nailed it. Went to overtime. I feel like if anything, the minute you realize that they're not doing anything productive,
what you're supposed to be doing,
you call a timeout.
Burn it.
FAU, the biggest disappointment of the tournament. That was
That was bad.
embarrassing.
That was bad.
That was just the most unserious way to go out.
And that layup they gave up right before that, like that was the easiest layup of all time. Just
like,
wide open.
Give me a break.
The center just got sealed and he was wide open.
And it was both teams, by the way. Both teams that should have lost those games in advance, Dayton and Northwestern, both got melted in the next round.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are we doing, Dusty May? I want the FBI. That's what I want the FBI to investigate. Brand new job at Michigan. And you're telling me that's the play they run to advance to the next round in March Madness? That's a joke.
Just want it out.
That's a joke. I'm going to admit I don't know ball when it comes to New Mexico and the Mountain West, because I sat here and I put New Mexico in my finals. I put New Mexico in my Final Four. I put New Mexico in my Elite Eight. I'm working backwards because they lost in the first round to a Clemson team that I've underrated and that I've made fun of and that I've disrespected. I want to apologize because this Clemson team is playing for real right now. And that's what happens. You get hot in March, the gas is on now.
Yeah.
And I look like an idiot. But by the way, that New Mexico, that was one of the most embarrassing performances I've ever seen of a team in March. And I'm officially going to put it on my notebook. I'm no longer respecting the Mountain West. I came in this year respecting the Mountain West. You lost it. 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 You lost it.
Yeah, that was never a game.
And I will say it, I'm an idiot. New Mexico, I'm an idiot. I just felt
I
like
think
you
a lot
win
of
the
people
Mountain
feel
West,
that
you
way.
come in head full of steam, you get a weird Clemson team. Josh, I think they shot 28%.
Yeah, it was bad.
And Jalen House squeezed a water bottle.
Yeah.
That's all I got out of him. That's literally all I got out of him. That's all I got out of him.
Dude, how about maybe the worst team of all time in the tournament? Colorado State.
Yeah, I mean,
that first half was one of the worst performances I've ever seen put up by a basketball team. 11 points.
I mean, I'm just
11 points in a half.
Just
Stetson had 19, and they looked like they had a lid on the basket.
like I don't know what the committee did this year. I don't understand. I actually don't. Not that I want to get back into it.
Points.
That's so bad. In March. We're talking March.
Yeah.
We're talking March, guys. We're talking
Dude.
March. All right, round out the disappointment list. I'm not disappointed in Nebraska. Texas A&M just completely surprised me.
Yeah.
Wade Taylor is unbelievable. They almost caught one on Houston, which I want to talk about a little bit in a second. Other disappointments. I feel like we already said it. James Madison, Utah State, and Grand Canyon were pretty free. That was just like the upsets that I think we talked about.
Mhm.
We saw coming. We bet on them. It happened. So we move. But those are my biggest disappointments, right? Nevada, FAU. Nevada, FAU, New Mexico, the whole Big 12, the whole Mountain West. And Josh, I'm going to give you the stage for a second to talk about Yale.
Oh my God, yeah. How about those boys? I mean, honestly, I was terrified going into that game. I'm not gonna lie. Terrified. Terrified.
Talk your shit.
But yeah, fuck everyone in this house that had Auburn going far and telling me that Yale was a shit wager. Fuck everyone. That was so free. And actually, it wasn't free. They won by 2,
But free.
Auburn frauds. Also fraudulent
Frauds.
team.
They did lose their second best player to
right away.
double
Yeah.
tech. That was tough. But
They
either way,
lost 2 guys. Well, the one guy came back, but
Yeah.
for a sec he was out. But yeah,
Either
that was
way, though,
fucking insane.
you literally sat here and you were like, it's Yale or Colgate.
Yeah.
And Yale beat Auburn.
Dude, and I mean Colgate was Colgate was so
We
bad.
didn't have to really talk
But clearly
about Colgate,
Baylor's
but-
not that great.
Yeah, I mean,
It wasn't that bad of a read with what Clemson did.
I mean, Yale was unbelievable.
Yeah, that was so fun.
Yeah, calling Yale to beat Auburn was unbelievable.
Dude, I thought that it was going to be so easy when we were up like 8, like going into the second half or like late in the second half. And then Auburn came back and took the lead. I was like, this shit's done. It was so done. Went back to the book.
Boys were fighting.
Went back to the book, dude. They were battling the entire game.
Fighting.
I love that team.
Fighting.
They'll
I
always
took them
have
in
a
the
place
next
in my
round.
heart.
Bing bong, they got smoked.
Yeah.
That sucked.
I can't believe that happened still.
That was tough.
Should we tell them about the Kentucky Oakland story?
Well, I think we're gonna save that for tomorrow because I think we have a special guest coming on to talk about
Okay.
that. I did want to talk about the second round, the round of 32, really quickly. Sorry, guys, it's just my favorite tournament, so I kind of want to go through some of the games. Is that
Yeah.
all right?
Yeah.
You think everyone's okay with that? Some teams that I've underrated. Duke, way better than I thought.
Yeah.
I think the end of that season might have just been prepping for March. I feel like that happens sometimes with some good ball clubs. You underperform in your conference tournament. I would put Creighton in that same category. You underperform in your conference tournament. You lose to lesser teams. I'll admit Providence a lesser team than Creighton. I think we caught them on a bad day. I think you're starting to get that mindset ready for March because you know you made the big dance, right? I don't think that conference tournament moves the needle for them that much. Underrated Duke. I underrated Purdue. I don't think Utah State is that good. I think Purdue might do it. And I know it's Utah State, and I don't give a lot of value, but as I've said multiple times on this show, good teams beat the crap out of bad teams.
Yeah.
To be a good team, you got to beat good teams, but a real good team doesn't play down to competition. You beat the dog out of really bad teams. They beat the dog out of a bad team. Utah State's a bad team. And they did it both times. Right? Both times, yeah. They did it both times. Alabama's better than I thought. I will say they had 2 easy matchups. I don't think Grand Canyon's an easy matchup, but what impressed me about Alabama in this game is they weren't scoring the way that they were scoring in the first round. Grand Canyon was slowing them down slightly, right? But again, they got into that track meet a little bit, and then that's where Alabama gets you. But it kind of showed me that Alabama, they didn't give – I feel like a lot of times when you bet Alabama late in the season, I think there was only one game where they really came back down 15. But whenever they kind of got down, it was, all right, let's start jocking. Yeah. And it felt like this game, they kind of figured it out. Yeah. Mark Sears is also unconscious. That kid is so incredible. Like, he's another story in March I want to talk about.
You see his mom?
There's no team better than UConn in the tournament.
Yeah, they're so fucking good.
Like, there's no team better than UConn. They're just dismantling every team you put in front of them, and it doesn't even look close, dude. They start with a big lead, they keep the big lead, and they just kill you all game. They kill you all game.
Yeah, even if it's like a close game points-wise, it just never feels like a close game.
No. If you're down 5 to UConn, you might as well wrap it up because that's a double-digit lead. Like, that's a double-digit lead.
Yeah, pretty much.
You have to punch UConn in the mouth early, and it's almost impossible to do that with this team, it feels like.
I would love to see a Final Four with all the 1 seeds. I don't know why, but like just
UNC would.
I just feel like those 4 teams are just so much above everyone else right now.
I don't think Houston's as good as I thought.
Houston, what?
I watched that full game against Texas A&M, and foul trouble. The foul discrepancy was absurd.
Yeah.
40 fouls, so I think it was like 16, 20 fouls. That's absurd. That should never happen. So clearly the refs might have had an A&M ticket. I had an A&M ticket, so thank you so much. They covered the 9.5. There were so many times they almost didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, I think the only dog that did cover was A&M because I took a lot of dogs.
Yeah, I think there was only one.
Because JMU got smoked, Yale got smoked, Northwestern got smoked, Grand Canyon got smoked, Baylor was Clemson was the only
there was only one dog that won.
Clemson.
Yeah, that was it.
But again, Houston, obviously you lose all your players, that's tough. But dude, that second half, they started folding a little bit. If it doesn't run through Sheed, everything kind of falls apart a little bit.
Yeah, well, that's why I like them so much. I think that he is unstoppable. Like he's just so fast getting to the basket, like no one can stay in front of him. You see that jump step that he had?
I was literally about to say, were you talking when we went to the left side and then jumped? That play,
God.
I was watching that play with my girlfriend's family, and we were watching that game, and I was sweating because I texted M plus 9.5, but everyone had Houston in their brackets. And of course, I'm in that living room with the sports betting mentality, and I'm like, Houston's losing this game. I was like, Houston's losing this game. Like, just because, I know I have Houston winning it all in my bracket. I took Texas A&M plus 9.5 to try to, middle the two just in case. And then, of course, Texas A&M comes out in that second half, and it's like, just, we're busting. And I was like, Houston's losing this game. And, of course, her mom's like, they're not going to lose this game. And Manny's like, you're not going to lose this game. Her mom's like, you're so pessimistic. I'm just sitting there like, if I say Houston is going to win this game, they definitely lose. So I got to, be in here being like, Houston's losing this game.
The reverse jinx.
Yeah, I got to reverse jinx it. But, dude, I don't know if they're as good as I think they are. I think if they meet a UConn, I'm going to be totally honest with you.
Yeah,
if they meet a Creighton, who, by the way, I just want to give a round of applause to the Creighton Blue Jays. I've been so high on them. Everyone and their mothers in my DMs in person tell me how shitty Creighton is. I promise you, don't underrate them.
Should have lost to Oregon.
I don't. Okay, so here's my thing about that. Here's my thing about that. I don't agree at all. I feel like this is just what the Big East does. This is what we do. You put them in a spot where they probably should have lost, by all accounts.
Yeah.
But this is how we win games.
Win ugly.
Yeah, this is how the Big East wins games.
Teams do, right? Win ugly.
I mean, but this is what we do. And then guess what? You don't have the legs to play them in overtime. You don't. Because this is what the Big East has done all year.
Yeah, that game was electric. I
electric, dude.
Electric. That was one of the best.
Baylor Shireman is so fucking good.
He's so good.
So, my point being, how do you think they didn't deserve that? Because Baylor Shireman nails that shot to force overtime. They missed the layup, come down. And then N'Faly
Dante missed both free throws at the end of regulation to essentially seal the game.
But this is why you put him at the line.
Yeah, but that was just Oregon being dumb. They
But
they called a
again,
timeout and ran an inbounds play, and he was the main. Like it looked like the main option to get the ball.
and then you.
And their
I
coach was
promise
like
you, he
losing his
wasn't the
mind.
main
It was like,
option.
no, he definitely wasn't. There was two guys in the backcourt like trying to get the ball, and then Nafali like came down
I'll
from
tell you what.
the other side of the court.
Greg McDermott said,
Yeah.
"You let Dante catch that ball. I don't care who you
Oh,
deny.
for sure.
You let
Yeah,
Dante
for
come down
sure.
and catch up.
For sure.
So that's just good coaching.
No, I'm saying it's bad. It's bad coaching on Oregon.
Yeah, exactly.
on
But I'm
Oregon's
saying
side,
like the
yeah.
Big East, like they deserve that game. They win that game. They deserve that game.
Yeah.
You win ugly and you move on. That's how you do it. That's how the Big East does it. And by the way, once you get into overtime, it's 0-0s. You got your shit kicked in.
Yeah, I thought Oregon was done in the first overtime, and then once they had
double
all the
overtime
momentum
was
going into the
nuts.
double one, once they had, because I thought Oregon had the momentum going into the double overtime
For
because they
sure.
came back in the first
For
one,
sure.
and then they just got blown out.
Yeah, then you get blown out.
Creighton had I was watching the game. Creighton had 9 points in the first 2.5 minutes
You know
of the
who?
overtime.
And you know who I think is the best player on that team that doesn't get talked about enough? Trey Alexander.
Really?
He is just,
He
to
is
me, I just love a good point guard. And he kind of plays this weird 1-2 thing with Ashworth. Like, you don't know who's going to bring up the ball. Ashworth is also fucking unconscious. But when Trey Alexander is driving that boat and he's doing the things that Trey Alexander does, it opens the floor so much for guys like Shireman and Ashworth and then
Yeah.
even the middle for Kalkbrenner.
Yeah.
Because, dude, Trey Alexander will drive it down your throat. He could step back and hit a three. Like, he really can do everything, whereas Shireman is just a pure shooter. Ashworth a pure shooter. Kalkbrenner, just give me the ball in the middle and I'll do something weird. Like, Trey Alexander is really the guy that's the Swiss Army knife,
The
where it's
glue
like,
guy.
oh, shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he makes
So Trey
me go.
Alexander is my
Yeah.
favorite guy. But some bets we shouldn't have made. Duquesne in the second round. Texas, way to fight. Way to fight. Showed more fight than any other Big 12 school.
Yeah.
Way to fight. Didn't get blown out.
Thought they were going to be the worst Big 12 school.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
With
Somehow they're the best.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Other than Iowa State.
One of the best, yeah.
Other than Iowa State. Which, by the way, I have a take on Iowa State. Iowa State might just win this game because they bore the opponent so bad.
Yeah.
Like, I think every college basketball player that has played Iowa State probably leaves that game being like, just so, like, the way they play is just so boring.
It really is.
Like, it's just like gross shots. Like, you come down, like, obviously they're amazing at defense, but like they're just gonna bore you out of the gym.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, I watched one half of the Iowa State game when we were in Vegas. My eyes didn't touch it again. Like, they just play boring basketball. It's just what they do.
I honestly don't think that I watched any of that first game either. The
No,
South Dakota State.
Definitely not.
And it
You
was
had a
on the big
take
TV.
before we sat down about a certain team that I want you to revisit.
What was my take about a certain
About the
team?
Bulldogs.
Oh. Wouldn't it be insane
Wouldn't it just?
if this is the year that Gonzaga finally does it? When everyone writes them off, it's like, this is not the team. They can't do it this year. Blah, blah, blah. They always choke. How fitting would it be if this is the year they make it deep, and
Dude,
win it?
And I'll tell you what.
They're good.
Dude, they're fucking good.
Yeah, they're
Like,
good.
Nemhard is fucking a bucket. And by the way, I think we might have been a little too low on Graham Ike.
Yeah,
He might be better than Dante. He might be better than Kalkbrenner.
yeah.
He might be, in terms of like domination, I think he's better than Ballo on Arizona. Like, he might be a guy that,
Oh, yeah.
first of all, I don't know if you're aware, but I don't know how Purdue is going to handle him. Because I don't think Edie's mobile enough to stop a Graham Ike.
I don't know if he's physical enough.
And
either.
I don't know if he's
Graham,
physical
yeah.
enough either, man. And you're giving me 6 points.
Dude, we were talking yesterday. I feel like two guys like that Edie doesn't want to see in this tournament: Graham Ike and Ledee on San Diego State. They'll just be too physical for him. He'll just feel uncomfortable. I feel like he.
I think
folds
also in
those
that
situations.
conversation, Klingon would eat
Yeah,
him alive.
I'm just
on
talking about like
UConn.
just like from pure physicality. Like
yeah.
he'll fold because of that.
No, 100%.
Klingon will eat him though.
I think Klingon
Yeah.
would put him in a coffin physically.
You think?
Dude, the way Klingon plays, he plays
Yeah.
like a junkyard dog.
Yeah.
And I think that's why St. Peter's
I'm
caught
more
one
talking
on
about
him.
defense, like guys D'ing you up and like
Oh, yeah.
like Ledee will put
Oh,
a
yeah.
body on him like hard, and he never gets called for fouls.
No.
He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, that kid
never
is
gets
just
called for
yes.
fouls. Yeah,
They just do this when he's
Yeah.
on defense.
yeah.
No,
Edie does
literally.
not want to see those guys. And Graham's probably a top 3 big man in this tournament if he stays out of foul trouble. That's the only thing with
100%.
him.
And I don't see him falling into foul trouble in that game.
Hopefully, yeah. And Huff is their backup, correct? That's his
Mhm.
name. He's really good.
He's
too.
really good too.
Yeah.
I think Gonzaga is just one of those teams that just is going to sneak you
Yeah.
all tournament.
Yeah.
Watson is good too.
Watson's I mean, Watson, Nembhard, and Ike. Like
That's
those
an
three,
unreal 3.
Yeah.
That's a great 3. I did want to talk, I don't want to recap the whole tournament, but I want to talk some early best bets because I looked at the board a little bit. Arizona's my new system. I took them 9.5 and then in playing, who did they just play? Help me out here.
Clemson.
They're the first game. No, the game before this.
Clemson's first game.
No, who did Arizona play last game?
Oh, Dayton.
You take Arizona against the worst team to cover that spread because it's what they do. I think obviously high on Clemson now going into this game, but I think Arizona is just as good as I thought they were. Caleb Love is unfucking conscious. I don't see Clemson really being able to match up with the way that they play. And I like Arizona -6.5. I also don't mind that over with the way that Clemson's been scoring the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like when you play Arizona, they can play they can play fast. You got to outscore them. Like any other team, you got to outscore them. Like you have to shoot the ball well because Caleb Love might go 3 minutes without scoring, but then he'll put 9 away in 3 possessions.
I don't hate that.
When are we going to stop trusting UConn to cover spreads? -10.5. They might beat San Diego State by 50 the way that they're talking. And I don't know if you saw the interview, but they were talking to the head coach, Dan Hurley, and they said, you drew the early game on Thursday again. And he was like, it's just more fuel for the fire that we've been talking about this committee, the way that they've been disrespecting us. So, that's just more bulletin board material for me to walk in there and give my guys more of a reason to play this game. Just more. Yeah. And then the more juice you give this UConn team, they're just going to beat the shit out of you. Dude, like now they're walking into this game, not angry at San Diego State, but I think Dan Hurley specifically is pissed at the committee.
Dan Hurley's awesome. I don't know if you don't like him, do you?
Here's my thing. And I feel like a lot of people hate that I flipped this switch. Once we hit March, I root for my conference because I know it's like fuck all of you.
Yeah.
Like we beat the shit out of each other. It's like little brother, big brothers. We beat the shit out of each other all year, and then we get to the big dance, and it's like, okay, let's go see one of you win. Right. So I'll always hate UConn. I'll never root for them. But I also love that Dan Hurley is in press conferences being like, by the way, this Seton Hall team beat us by 15. We've beat the shit out of every team you put in front of us in March, and they didn't make the tournament.
Yeah.
So where is the loss there? What is basically what he's saying. It's like, I don't see the disconnect there and why they aren't in this tournament. Because they beat us by 15 and we've beat every team you put in front of us by 20 plus.
Yeah.
But when are we going to stop trusting them to cover spreads? -10.5. I just click the button.
Yeah.
And if San Diego State covers, you chalk it up to the game. But UConn -10.5.
I hate San Diego State. I hope they lose by 50.
I think it's Alabama +4.5. I'm just not high in this UNC team. And I think they played a Michigan State team that we were a little too high on. I don't think Mississippi State was a good team. I think Michigan State just happened to play better on that day. I think you saw the Michigan State team that we saw all year play UNC. And I just think Alabama might catch one here. I don't know, though. Like, is UNC that good? Is UNC that good?
That's going to be a great game. That's going to be a
fun game. But is UNC that good? Do you think on the spot?
Are they that good?
Are they that good?
No. I think that they're as good as Iowa State. Like, I think they're good, like really good, but I don't think they're on the same level as Purdue or UConn.
I agree. In terms of 1 seeds, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Alabama could cover 4.5 points, though. Illinois, Iowa State, Josh. This is also just keep in mind, guys. This is just a gut check. We're just going through the games real quick. Then we'll probably Thursday. We're gonna really turn it up. Friday, we're gonna really turn it up in terms of how we're looking at the games. Gut check. Illinois, Iowa State. It's a fucking pick 'em, dude. You're getting the number 1 offense against the number 1 defense.
It's gonna be a fun game.
What do you do?
I think you stay with the hot offense. I think you stay with Illinois.
Really, I think defense wins championships. But I don't know if anyone on Iowa State can slow down Terrence
That's
Shannon.
what I'm saying. Is like once he gets downhill, what are you gonna do?
He doesn't even have to get downhill. If he's downhill, pull for the fucking logo.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, I don't know. I think
Iowa State's going to fall apart one time.
That's such a good game, though.
Iowa State's going to fall apart once. We saw them fall apart all year, like one game after another. 2 games later, they fall apart.